Hello and welcome to another episode of the FemiNinja Project. And thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate it. And as always, I have a fascinating guest with me today. Her name is Katharine Giovanni. She is a three-time award-winning best-selling author, speaker, forgiveness and transformation coach who has published 12 transformative books, including her most recent, titled The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness: Unlocking Your Power. Katharine's journey and her story is one of remarkable resilience, including surviving stage 3 breast cancer and overcoming a turbulent childhood, which has shaped her deep understanding of forgiveness and personal transformation. She is also passionate about unleashing the power of intuition in everyday life and empowers others to embrace and harness their innate sixth sense. Katharine, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You have such a remarkable story and bio. But first of all, I have to say, 12 books, really? How does one person write 12 books?
I'm an overachiever.
Ah,
Now,
okay.
the 12 books include six editions of my first book, The Concierge Manual. You
Mm.
haven't lived until you've written the same book six times.
Oh,
I know.
oh.
I know. It was what it was, but it's a niche book and it had to
Uh-huh.
be completely rewritten cover to cover every 2 years. So,
Wow. Was that
yeah.
because the industry changes so much and
Yeah,
so
it's because
quickly?
the world kept changing. It's a business book and it's teaching you how to
Oh.
start a concierge business. And as the world changed, the book had to change. Fax machines had to come out. Hello, that kind of thing. Phone booths had to come out. Yes, I am as old as dirt. This is the thing. So as technology changed,
Uh-huh.
I had to change. But I retired from the industry in 2012, and the sixth edition is we're done. So yeah.
Okay. So now,
But yeah, I've written a lot of books, to be
so
honest. I
for those of us who don't really understand what concierge business is, could you just explain it a little bit?
About 25 years ago, maybe 30, a group of hotel concierge, and everybody
Mm.
knows what a hotel concierge, and they
Hmm.
decided there were about four of them, and they decided if this works in a hotel, I'll bet you I can bring this to mainstream America and do it for the general public.
Hmm.
And they did very successfully, and that's how it started. So when I came on the scene, I came on the scene in like 1997, 1998. And
Hmm.
when I came on the scene, there might have been 20 concierge companies around the United States, certainly no more than that. And we were in dial-up modems. Everybody remembers, if you're as old as that kind of song your computer made whenever you connected, and floppy disk. We didn't have Google, but I read an article in Entrepreneur Magazine about this brand new industry called the independent concierge industry, and I had a meeting at an event planning company at the time. And we realized, my husband's my business partner, and he realized we were doing more concierge work than meeting planning. So we flipped
Hmm.
and we started, but there was no books. There
Hmm.
was nothing. There was nothing to help us. Absolutely nothing. So it was the ultimate of self-taught. So I figured it out, pretty scrappy. And I figured out how to do a website because we didn't have two dimes to scrape together at the time. So don't ask me to ever repeat this because I'll never be able to. I
Hmm.
read Microsoft Word help file on how to do a website, and I'm scrappy, and I figured out how to do a rudimentary website. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever be able to do it again. So I got something up, and once I got a website up, people started to call saying, "How do you
Wow.
figure out what to charge? I kind of do this." So I was helping them until
Hmm.
my husband asked the $1 million question: "Why are you doing it for free?"
Ah, love that
And that's how it
question.
started. I'm credited with being one of the founders of the independent concierge industry. And quite honestly, that's how it started. I wrote a book about it, and the first edition of that book came out. And then I started an international association, and on it went. And I retired in 2020.
Wow, that's incredible. And yes, you are scrappy.
Yeah, I write a lot of books because at some point, I kind of became God's guinea pig, and I go through a lot of stuff. And I went through a very dysfunctional youth, And I kind of figure, when I go through it, I figure even if it only helps one person,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm going to write about it and I'm going to help them. So I've written a lot of books,
Mm-hmm.
even one on breast cancer that I wrote on my cell phone in a chemo board.
Oh my goodness.
I
Wow.
love to write. I love to write. I'm writing the second book in my series now, and I have to say, I love to write. It's my happy place.
Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Well, for writing 12 books and doing all of that, you must love to write. If you hated
I
it, I
do.
don't think you would have had that many books out.
It's how I got through college, man. If the exam didn't have an essay, I was sunk, man, because I'm a writer, so I could
Hmm.
always pull it out with the essay and ace it. But
Hmm.
if it didn't have an essay question,
I didn't take any writing classes in college. Nothing, nothing.
I
Um,
didn't
I
either.
I always say that my writing career began from writing patient notes when I was a respiratory therapist for almost 20 years and then went and got my master's in physical therapy. So I would actually
Wow.
be, well, I'm a little scrappy too, and also not, yeah. Anyway, I get bored easily. So my writing career started by taking patients' notes and then like interjecting little stories into them if I was educating them of what to do once they got discharged. So it's like, I
Great,
guess that's
because
how it
that's a great way
started.
to teach.
Yeah, well, once again, I get bored. So if I get bored, I always think that other people will too, especially if they're seeing the same thing over and over.
Oh, I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay, so then your first book was the one on the concierge
It
business.
was.
And then what was your second book?
My second book was a book that is actually out of print now, but it was teaching people how to tap into their intuition.
Mm-hmm.
And then I moved very quickly into motivational and inspirational books because I am really, this might stretch people's brains a little bit, but I am really intuitive and have been since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been very quiet about it because back in the 60s and 70s, if you even exhibited a smidgen of intuition, and you'll never hear me say psychic because I hate the word. I think
Mm-hmm.
it makes you sound like a grifter. Don't email me. It's just a personal choice. It's cool if that's the word you're using. I'm all over it. It's just not a personal choice for
Mm-hmm.
me. And in the 70s, if you exhibited just a smidgen of intuition, they'd slap a "you're crazy as a bedbug" sticker on your forehead, give you meds, and want to give you therapy or put you someplace.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't tell anybody because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to be stuffed into a locker. I mean, I didn't tell anybody. In fact, the first person I told that I was intuitive was my husband 33 years ago.
Wow.
And I've been keeping it quiet for years. Nobody in the concierge industry knew what I was doing. And everybody says, well, you're so smart. And it's like, I'm a good listener.
Mm-hmm.
But I give people messages all the time. They just didn't know I was doing it. I'm the queen of flipping words, saying, have you ever thought about dot, 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 or you know what would be good for you, dot, dot, dot. And eventually I did write a book called The Little Bird in Your Shoulder because everybody on the planet is intuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, 10 out of 10 people. And we all do it differently. I was
Mm-hmm.
just born with the volume turned all the way up. But everybody hears it, sees it, knows it, or just feels it. You walk into a room and it just feels off. You don't know
Mm-hmm.
why, it just
Mm-hmm.
feels off. And then what if you hire somebody? Their resume is great, they're wearing the right things, their background is perfect, their references, but something, you can't pick it. You hire them anyways. How
Mm-hmm.
many of us have said, I knew I shouldn't have done that?
Mm-hmm.
And we could be
Exactly.
talking about any topic, insert whatever topic you want, but every
Mm-hmm.
one of us has gone, I knew I shouldn't have done that. That's the little bird in your shoulder that saved my life 3 times, and not that I'm counting, but yeah, it's something that every single one of us can tap into to get help. But the thing about intuition is if you're angry, you won't be able to hear it. It acts like a shield.
Mm.
So the reason you might not be able to hear your intuition and you're not focused and you're asking the universe, show me the way, show me the way. The reason a lot of you can't hear that is probably because you've got a little too much anger and it's acting like a shield and it's blocking it.
So my question is that where the forgiveness part comes in?
Well, everybody on the planet will teach you you need to forgive. your
Mm-hmm.
minister, your pastor, your teachers, your
Mm-hmm.
parents, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody teaches you how. They just
Mm-hmm.
say to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
then what if you don't want to? What if it's an unforgivable act? Then what do? You're still supposed to forgive? Well, I don't want to. So I teach the how. I
Mm-hmm.
teach people exactly how to forgive. But there's a few principles before I talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, just because I forgive you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you.
Mm-hmm.
I probably don't, to be honest. You probably have, you're still wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still going to put around boundaries. I don't want to talk to you. I'll forgive you, but we have boundaries and I'm emotionally divorcing you, so to speak. And this is the next one is trips 10 out of 10 people up. Just because I forgive you doesn't mean all of a sudden you're right. It doesn't
Mm.
all of a sudden giving you a pass. It doesn't mean that I'm all of a sudden saying, okay, you were right and I was wrong. Forgiveness doesn't mean that I'm weak. It's the actual opposite. Forgiveness is the ultimate of strength.
Mm-hmm.
You're still wrong. But what forgiveness means is I want you out of my head.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. You're still going to do whatever you're going to do. You still probably have to make amends and do whatever you're supposed to do because whatever it was. But for me, I want you out of my head. I want to stop thinking about it. I want to stop dreaming about it. I want it out of my head. And that's the basics of the system.
It's a way of taking your power back.
It takes your power back. And, I come from a pretty, uh, to be called a forgiveness and transformation coach, it probably implies that the universe has given me a plethora of things to forgive.
Mhm. Okay, so on that note, I do want to go back a little bit
Mhm.
regarding the intuition
Mhm.
because I remember as a little girl, and this was before 1960s. I remember people would talk about women's intuition a lot, and even
Yep.
among the adults, the men, you'd always hear them say, if my wife says her intuition is telling her something, I listen. And it was treated with so much respect and
Yep.
reverence, even almost. And all of a sudden, then over the years, it almost seemed like people started poo pooing this idea of
They
women's
did.
intuition. And all of a sudden, it was something that, oh no, you're making it up, you're seeking attention, or that's just not, you can't. And they poo pooed it, almost trying to make us embarrassed to say, well, my intuition or my gut is telling me this. So am I wrong about that,
No, you're not wrong.
or okay?
Intuition is powerful. It is, and it is
Mm-hmm.
not science. It's not hoodoo voodoo. It's not a woo-woo science. It's real. And
Mm-hmm.
everybody has it. And if you tap into it, it's incredibly powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I tapped into it very, very young, but I heard one day you need to write a book. What? You want me to do what? I've never written a book before. I wrote a book and it led me down a path that has gotten to me where I am today. It's some powerful stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the patriarchy figured that out. And
Mm-hmm.
because women were coming up with these brilliant things and they were doing brilliant things and they didn't want us to do brilliant things.
Mm-hmm.
So they started, I remember when I was in school in the 70s and the 60s, they said you have to think with your head, not your heart. Your heart is always wrong. I heard that from everybody. When I
Wow.
started a business in the 1990s, they said, no, your heart is wrong. Your head, you got to think your way through things. And they couldn't have been more wrong if they tried because your heart is telling your brain where to go.
Mm-hmm.
So running your business from your heart and not your head is actually the new way of business 101.
Mm-hmm.
100%.
Well, you hear that
Trusting
all the
that,
time.
trusting that gut.
The heart-centered,
Absolutely.
business owner or therapist or whomever.
Okay, here's I'm a gentleman. I usually say this after I tell this talk about the system, but we're talking about it now. Um, all my interviews go off the rails pretty quick. I had a man come up to me, and don't email me, fellows. It's just a story, true story. Came up to me and my husband, and he said, "I don't believe in your system of forgiveness, and I'm going to teach the system of forgiveness in a minute."
Okay.
And I looked at him and I said, "Okay." And he said, "I've made a lot of money in my life." In my head, I'm thinking, "Good for you." And I have a lot of businesses and many homes. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, good for you. And he said, I have built my brand on my hatred and my platform of pain. I built it on the pain I went through as a child and the stuff that I went through in my teens and 20s. And that's how I've built my platform and I've helped a lot of people. Okay, let's talk about that.
Let's hope that
Sure.
he's not a therapist.
No, he is not.
Oh, good.
He
Okay.
was in
But,
sports.
well, and he's building his business on vengeance. I can't
Yep. Yep.
understand how that is a healthy approach. I would think that, not only just for your mental health and emotional
No,
health, but your physical health as well, because that stuff just festers inside of
it
you.
does. It does. There's science behind why anger
Right.
is toxic. And I looked at him because I love it when people challenge me like that. It's kind of fun. I'm kind of a brat. And I looked at it and you can get there. Put it this way. There's two trains you can take and you're both go to the same destination. One is the
Hmm.
express and the other is
Hmm.
the local.
Hmm.
The local train is going to stop at every stop.
Hmm.
It's like getting into a hotel elevator, and we've all experienced this. And just before you get into the elevator, some punk kid has every button between 1 and 72. And you're
Hmm.
going to 72. And you have to stop at every single floor. And by the time you get up to 72, you're a bloody mess. I mean,
Hmm.
you're a shadow of your former self. You were in a good mood. Now you're not. It's just like the local train. The local train is going to stop at every single stop. You're going to get bloodied. You're going to get bruised. It's going to be painful. You're going to get sick. Wouldn't you rather get on the express train? I've been on the local many
Hmm.
times. The express train is filled with joy and forgiveness and will also get you to your destination faster and
Hmm.
easier. You can get there if you take the local. 100% you can get there,
Hmm.
but I'd rather take the express.
Hmm. Catherine, you're a ninja. I don't know if you knew that, but you really are. You're a warrior and you are a ninja.
Possibly.
Hmm. Hmm.
Possibly.
Hmm. Okay, so let's go back in talking about the path to forgiveness and the
Right.
method and how people can go about doing that, because forgiveness is really it's tough. And even before we began recording, I said that the hardest person to forgive is yourself. Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
So.
right. Well, on a 10 scale, with 10 being an unforgivable dumpster fire, if you will,
Hmm.
and one being the easiest person in the world to forgive, 10 out of 10 people, including you, my friend, more than likely, are thinking of their number 10.
Hmm.
When you see the word forgiveness, your knee jerk reaction is go immediately to your pain point because
Hmm.
they hurt you. They rocked your world. They absolutely threw you to the ground. That's completely fair.
Hmm.
And in my world, you don't have to forgive the unforgivable. Stay with me. Why? Because there's a lot of people, places, and things. I did say places and things. Don't click off that you can forgive before you even get to that number 10.
Hmm.
So the system is designed to start with the easy ones. The
Hmm.
kid who stained your sweater in school, the
Hmm.
person who cut you off on I-95 South yesterday. You
Hmm.
can forgive these people. The person who stole your sandwich out of the work refrigerator. Come on
Hmm.
now. You can forgive these people. Your Super Bowl team lost. Come on, you could forgive them. Come on. You can do it. Easy, easy people that you can forgive. And as you work with the tens, you're going to start to feel better.
Hmm.
Now, a lot of people use some expressions that kind of irritate me. One of them is you forgive and forget.
Oh.
Okay, I'm from New York originally. I've lived in the
Hmm.
South for 30 years, but I was raised in New York and we don't forget anything.
Hmm.
Not going to happen. But what I can promise you is if you use my system, the emotional charge will be gone. You're
Hmm.
not going to think good. You're not going to think bad. You're going to be able to look at that person and look at that name and you won't care.
Hmm.
That's freedom. That's
Hmm.
freedom. I can look back at my dysfunctional youth, and I was raised by two very pickled people. They were both alcoholics. I was terribly bullied in school because I was
Mm-hmm.
different.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to commit suicide in the eighth grade. So I just kind of floated through life. And I can look back at that person, and now I can look back at my life. I have forgiven everybody in the past, and now I can see the adults that were there to help that young kid. I can see the love that was there. I can regurgitate some of those ugly memories if you want me to. I use that word purposely. But I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't remember them as much because I've done so much forgiveness work on it that it's not that it's gone. It's just that I remember other things now. My perspective has changed.
Mm-hmm.
There's another one. They say anger is toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how?
Mm-hmm.
How? Just don't tell me that. I want to know the science. There's a study done. You guys can Google it. It's a brilliant study. It's called the Japanese Water Study,
Ooh.
done by a guy named, I never get his name right. It's Hasumoto, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the interest of time, I'll just say it fast. He took several containers of water.
Mm-hmm.
One container of water, all he did was speak love to it. Beautiful words. The other container of water, he spewed hate, most hateful things you could think of. He then froze the water and he put it under a microscope. The water he spoke love to had these beautiful transformation, these gorgeous crystalline pictures. They're right online. They're cool.
Mm-hmm.
The water he spoke hate to, malformations, and they were these ugly, kind of dark kind of things. And why am I telling you this? The human body is over 95% water. So
Mm-hmm.
when you're spewing hate, when you're bitter, when your self-talk is bad, what do you think you're doing to the water cells within your own
Mm-hmm.
body?
Mm-hmm.
You're literally making yourself sick. So um, the water cells will literally change. And the special sauce to the whole system, which is what makes it so unique, is energy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and said, I have forgiven them. I've done the work,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't forgive the energy. That's why
Mm-hmm.
you're still getting triggered. That's why, you run into them and everything comes right back. Einstein proved that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just transforms from one thing to another. He also said everything on our planet has an energy field around it, including this little silver microphone.
Mm-hmm.
So my system is designed to forgive the energy so you can finally be free. And
Mm-hmm.
the mantra I use is I completely forgive Cheryl. I forgive the energy around Cheryl. I forgive myself. I forgive the energy around myself. I forgive the energy around the entire situation. And so it is. Amen. Whatever. End it any way you like. And that's the meat and potatoes of the entire system. There's more pieces to it, but that's the
Mm-hmm.
meat and potatoes of it.
So do you work with you do work with people one on one? You are a
All the
coach.
time. Hmm.
Okay. And do you ever get anyone who's a little bit, let's just say, resistant to these ideas of forgiveness, and or that, oh, well, they hurt me so badly, there's no way I could ever forgive him, or this is never going to go away? Do you ever get people who really, they're so kind of like stuck in
Yes.
the pain and the hurt?
Well, the first thing I have them do is say the following sentence 3 times a night for the next 5 days. I completely forgive myself for not being able to forgive and the energy around this thought.
Ooh, that's
Say
good.
that 3 times a night for the next week. And the other thing that I'm going to have them do is we'll use myself as an example. Let's just use the bullies from
Mm-hmm.
school when I was a
Mm-hmm.
kid. I wasn't ready to forgive the bullies. In
Mm-hmm.
fact, I didn't even want to forgive the energy around the bullies.
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't. Had no interest in it. It was tripping me up that badly. They were my number 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually picked apart the memory. When I say you don't have to forgive your number 10 people, I'm actually pretty serious about it because you could pick apart the memory. So
Mm-hmm.
take that memory, and I forgave the energy around my school building. So I forgave the building, the energy around the building. I forgave the desk, the energy around the desk. I'm actually serious. I
Mm-hmm.
forgave the chair I sat in, the energy around the chair. Gave the playground, the energy around the playground. I forgave the kids who stood around and didn't help me, and the energy around these kids. I forgave the city where it happened. I forgave New York. I forgave the year it happened, 1974. I really forgave 1974. And the energy around 1974. I still haven't forgiven the bullies.
Mm-hmm.
So now my number 10 person is probably down to a 9. So you
Mm-hmm.
check in with your body and see, well, is it still a 10 or is it still, well, maybe they're down to a 9, but I still haven't forgiven the bullies.
Mm-hmm.
So forgive what you can and keep going. I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to have you sit down and write a list of all the people you think you need to forgive.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put your number 10 people, right? You're going to put the unforgivable people that hurt you the most right down on the paper, but keep going. Think of all the people you've known since you were a kid, present day, friends,
Mm-hmm.
family, people you ran into, don't care. Just write a complete list.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want you to rate them from 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm.
10 being unforgivable, 1 being super easy.
Mm-hmm.
And you could have 7 number 5s. I don't care. You could skip a number. I also don't care. But what I do care about is I want you to start with the number 1s and work your way up to those ugly ones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, by the time you get to those 8s, 9s, and 10s, you're going to start to feel better
Mm-hmm.
because your world is going to start to shift.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this broadcast, I'm about to hold a purple coffee cup in front of my. When you first get angry, this cup represents anger, bitterness, grudges, if you will. But look at my body language. I can handle my anger. I can manage this. Come on, Cheryl, it's easy. We could go out, we could go have dinner, we could go to the movies, I can laugh. I can manage it. But here's the thing, humans irritate humans. So if I don't take things out of this cup, I'm just going to keep pouring more anger and resentment and grudges back into
Mm-hmm.
it. So it starts to get heavy. Now look at my body language. Now it's taking me 2 hands to hold up this little glass of anger.
Mm-hmm.
I can still kind of conduct my life, but it's starting to get into my conversations. I'm starting to feel pain. It's
Mm-hmm.
starting to bug me. And
Mm-hmm.
if I still hold on to it as I'm still living life and putting more stuff into it, well, now I'm holding the cup right in front of my face. My life has stopped. I'm probably down to 1 friend. It's all I can think about. It's all I can talk about. And even
Mm-hmm.
though I'm spinning the stories funny,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still I'm all in, man. And my life has stopped. I'm missing the an ideal money-making opportunity because I'm not paying attention. I'm paying attention to what's inside the cup. I
Mm-hmm.
can't hear my intuition anymore because I'm paying attention to the anger inside the cup. I can't even see my dream relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because I'm paying attention to what's inside the cup, and I'd rather keep my toxic relationship because the devil you know is better than the devil you don't.
Mm-hmm.
So the system is designed that when you forgive the people you label 1, 2, 3, 4, well, now look at my body language.
Mm-hmm.
My life has opened up again. I could smell coffee again. It's still causing me pain, but it's getting better now. I'm
Mm-hmm.
starting to see opportunities around me. And if you keep on working it, eventually you'll be able to put your anger down. And now look at my body language.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can be the authentic person I was always meant to be
Mm-hmm.
because now I can see what path I'm supposed to walk.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this system is something that you created yourself, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
It was given to me. That stretches people's brain a little bit, but yes, it was given to me by a higher source. Let's just say that.
Okay, that's what I was kind of guessing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
figured as much. Yeah.
yeah.
So, when you started pursuing it and processing it, the changes in yourself, were they were they surprising? I mean, did it almost like, I call them mental head smacking moments where you go, oh, wow, it was like, I guess other people would call it an epiphany. But were you coming up with all these epiphanies? Were you writing it down? What was the
Yeah.
process like? Because you were on your own. You didn't have a coach. Well, you did,
No, no, I
but
I actually didn't have any. I didn't. I mean, for a lot of this stuff, I was just kind of figuring it out.
hmm
See, everybody's life has what I call flashpoints.
hmm
And my flashpoint was when my mother died.
hmm
A few years before she died, she was an alcoholic and she fell down a flight of stairs, broke her hip, and ended up in the hospital. But even my mother couldn't get a gin and tonic in the hospital, so she tried out and we sent her to rehab.
uh-huh.
And she and I spent the next 3 years closer than sisters. We practically finished each other's sentences. We were tight. We lived together. We adored each other. We forgave each other. And she died of breast cancer, which I actually got in 2012. And when she died, I realized if I didn't change, I was going to die too. So the only New Year's resolution I actually ever kept was I quit drinking. I've been sober for 35 years. And when you quit drinking, you're supposed to make amends. You're
Mm,
supposed to do your fourth step. Your girl here is an extroverted introvert now. Back
mhm,
then, shy as a church mouse. And remember, it was the dark ages. If I
mhm,
could have texted these people, that would have been massively brilliant. But my choice was call them up on the phone or see them in person.
mhm,
And
mhm,
either way, they were probably going to yell at me. I had no desire to get yelled at. That's why texting would have been perfect.
mhm,
And so I didn't do it. And I just sat in my apartment and I did it quietly alone in my apartment. And I tapped into unexpectedly the first part of the system. Because in
mhm,
my world, when you do my forgiveness matrix, you don't have to reach out and call anybody. You can do it
mhm,
in the privacy of your own home. Nobody has to know.
mhm,
And that being said, since you don't have to reach out and tell anybody you're doing this, you can forgive dead people because where
mhm,
they are or are not doesn't matter a lick. You're doing it
mhm,
for you. If they're alive and well in your head, you can forgive them. But
mhm,
as I just paid lip service to this, because nobody teaches you how to forgive, my world started to change. I found a different job. I got
mhm,
married about a year and a half later to my husband, who I've been married to for 33 years. I
mhm,
discovered, another career in the concierge industry. My world started to change. So I started to teach forgiveness in my workshops because I can't teach you to be warm, friendly, and approachable in customer service if you're angry, because your anger is going to bleed through your body language, whether you want it to or not. Unless you're
mhm,
a master actor like George Clooney or somebody, you won't be able to stop it. So I started to teach it. And the
mhm,
system is I want you to get your list and I want you to look at the first person on the list and remind me to tell you a really good story about my number one person. That'll blow your mind. And I want you to I want you to be alone in a
mhm.
room. I want, here's something novel. I want your cell phone to be off. There's an off button, believe it or not, on that phone. And if you're twitching and verbally throwing up about the thought of even turning your phone off, I want you to mute it. I don't want it
Mhm,
to vibrate because if it dances on your desk, you're going to look at it and you're going to wonder who's calling you. It's going to distract you. So everybody's out of the room. You can have your dog in there if you want. That's fine. But humans have to be up. And I want you to sit in your favorite chair or wherever you are. And I want you to imagine whoever you're forgiving is standing in front of you. Now, if you're imagining somebody from your childhood, I want you to imagine the person as they were as a child, not the adult today, the
mhm,
person that pissed you off, whatever they looked like. And if you can't imagine the person in your mind's eye, uh, talk to a chair. Put a chair in front of you and talk to the chair. Now,
mhm.
can you see your childhood bedroom in your mind right now?
Oh, heavens, yes.
Can you see the color of the walls? Sort of.
Not sort of. I
That's
can I
that's
I can see more the windows and the bed or bed because I grew up. I think I told you I have four sisters, and my mom had three little girls in 4 years. So my two old, yeah, it was
God
crazy.
bless your mom.
You no kidding. But she still wasn't done. But so the three of us used to we would share the same bedroom, as three little girls. And I just remember so very clearly, like the
The
windows. It was
window.
well, all of the windows around. And my dad had built the house, so it's a really quite a lovely house. And when my parents were sick in 2010, um, this is the craziest story. Oh my goodness. My two older sisters and I we lived out of state. And we took turns visiting my parents. Of course, we couldn't help them because they would never accept help. They would never ask for it and they would never accept it. But hey, a visit from an out of town daughter, that was a different story. So we coordinated our schedules, and would take turns visiting. And it was so crazy because it's like, oh my God, here it is, 50 years later, the three of us sharing a bedroom again, although thank God not at the same time. And it was just so surreal. So yeah, that bedroom is in my mind. I mean, it's very
That's
real.
that's clairvoyance.
Oh.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's a Stephen King, you're going to see a ghost walk through your office door.
Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
might, but I doubt it.
Uh-huh.
What it really means is that's how you hear your intuition. You see it. You
Mm-hmm.
see it in the written word. You see signs around you. You're very observant about people and body language. That's how your intuition talks. I am what they call clairaudient. I actually, my first gift, I'm all of them. I'm clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairsentient and empathic. But I've been doing this since I was a kid. But it
Mm-hmm.
started as I clairaudient, which is a very fancy word for meaning I hear things.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't need a straight jacket, although I want a purple one. I want it to be purple and a nice designer one if you have to give me one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it
Okay,
really
that
just
that is
means
noted. I will make sure that that happens.
it just means that I hear the answer, which is why I probably can write a lot of books because I literally hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So when if you can't see your childhood bedroom in your mind's eye right now, like Cheryl and I can, some people can't. Put a chair in front of you. And you can even write the person's name on the chair if you want to, or even put their picture. If it's a higher level person, you can put their picture on it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're alone in a room.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's with you. So you can say anything you want to this person. They're standing right in front of you, the person that you knew. Let them have it. Say whatever you want. And if they're dead, get that closure. Say whatever you want. Scream, cry. It's your party. You can do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want you to say the mantra that I said before. And I want you to put your hand over your heart just to remind you to speak from your heart because
Mm-hmm.
the words are just for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really the energy behind the words. And then I want you to imagine that they walk out of the room. Now check in with your body. Is it a number
Mm.
one? Are we done? Did the number one go to a zero? Brilliant. Cross their name off the list. Did that was it a number three person and now it's a two? Because you're still kind of angry? Okay, that's fine. No judgment. Put the three, cross out the three, put a two. Or if it was a seven, put down a six. And this happened to a friend of mine. Was it a level four person and now it's a nine? What happened? You're supposed to be going the other way. The
Wow.
brain is the most brilliant, beautiful, marvelous tool, and it protects you. And there's a
Mm-hmm.
closet in the back with a movie that's been playing your entire life. You didn't know it was there because it's behind a closet door and it's been locked for decades, but it's playing and it's affecting you. And what you just did is forgiveness is like an onion, and you just peeled back the first layer. And your
Mm-hmm.
brain is like, ooh, Cheryl's finally ready to open up that door, and it's going to open up the door and flood you with memories. Happened to a friend of mine, and you could see it on her face. She just went from calm to really pissed off.
Wow.
So she crossed the number off from a four, put a nine, and
Wow.
you have to kind of we have this is not an overnight fix. You can't get a number nine person down to a one overnight. It's going to take a minute, and I want you to wait 24 hours, and I want you to do it again. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's really a hard one, then we pick apart the memory.
Mm-hmm.
But this is going to allow you to be free again. It's going to allow you to live in joy again. And the energy of forgiveness is just like the energy of gravity. It's going to work whether you believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And you can call it anything you want. We can call the law of gravity the law of keeping Catherine on the ground. Doesn't care. It's still going to work. I forgave. Now, this is going to stretch everybody's brain, like really stretch it. I apologize for the pain in advance. True story. I thought about my number one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number one meaning the easiest person to forgive. And it was a girl I went to high school with. And this was years ago. And I hadn't talked to this person in decades. Not
Mm-hmm.
kidding. And I thought, I don't even remember what we were angry about. I was it was way back in high school. And I was in my 50s at the time. I mean, it was decades ago. And I thought, I can do this. And my children, who are on their 30s now, but they were really young at the time. And so I sat down and I did exactly this. And then I imagined that she floated out the window. And I thought, well, okay, she just fell to her death. I can't do that. So I had to do it again. And imagine she walked out the door. I'm a writer, so my brain went in a really weird direction. And then my shoulders kind of felt lighter, which was
Mm-hmm.
weird. And then I felt energy leave from my kind of my solar plexus, which for people who
Mm-hmm.
don't know, it's above your belly button. It's kind of in the middle of your chest. And it kind of felt weird, but it kind of felt like energy moved.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really, I kind of sloughed it off at the time, and I was a little tired. So I went off and I had to go carpool, whatever it was. 2 hours later, she calls me up on the phone. My concierge training kicked in virtually immediately because I was shocked out of my mind. So I masked it. And we made all the right noises and said all the right words and we reminisced and we did what people do when you haven't talked to somebody in decades and you're forgiving each other. But I couldn't stand it. And I said, after all these years, why did you call me today? She said, you know, it was the damnedest thing. 2 hours ago, which is when I was saying the mantra, a
Whoa.
figurine you gave me in school flew off my bookshelf, landed in the middle of the floor, and when I picked it up, I decided to give you a call. 2 hours prior was when I was saying the mantra. She was 700 miles away. So if forgiveness energy has the power to
Mm-hmm.
change the water molecules within your own body, and it
Mm-hmm.
has the power to move a figurine off a shelf 700 miles away for a level 1 person, what do you think it's going to do when you hit the higher numbers? What do you think
Wow.
it's going to do to you? This is life-changing stuff. Most people call this shadow work because we're working with the shadows of our past. And
Mm-hmm.
I understand most people don't want to go back. Your past was probably more dysfunctional than mine. I get it. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm only asking you to go back a few more times to clear it, and you'll never have to think about it again.
What is even crazier about that figurine flying through the air and falling on the ground is that you had previously just thought of her walking out, or flying out the window.
I did actually. I did, and I scared myself. Said I can't do that because it was just the mental image of her going out the window was bothering me. So I
Right.
did the entire thing again, and I imagine she walked out the door.
Oh my gosh, just the synchronicity there with the figurine flying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
that's
serious science,
crazy.
and it's gonna work whether people believe it or not. And if you
Hmm.
and if you do this system and you think, well, it didn't work, yeah, it did. You just forgave the first layer.
Uh-huh.
So buckle up because memories are coming your way. Now, I
Hmm.
want you to do this before bed because your body heals
Hmm.
itself at night when you're
Hmm.
sleeping.
Hmm.
This is a case of do as I say, not as I do. So I
Hmm.
came up with this system, I am an overachiever,
Hmm.
shocker.
Hmm.
And so I came up, there must have been 50 people on this list, I swear to God. And I thought, I'm going to do it all at once. I'm going to be like a phoenix rising from the ashes. I'm going to be a butterfly coming out of the cocoon. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. My past is going to be different. I'm going to be a new person when I wake up.
Hmm. So
Uh
what happened?
huh. I did forgive many people on the list, but I also spent the next 3 days in bed with what everybody thought was a stomach flu. It was not the stomach flu. It was my body trying to rid itself of decades of sludge and water cells and getting rid of that anger energy.
Wow.
So most 9 out of 10 people, when they do this work, all it's going to happen is you're going to feel really tired, like
Hmm.
really tired. I've been known to do this practice in the middle of the day and have to take a nap. So I learned very quickly I had to do it before I went to bed.
Hmm.
And some people will get really thirsty.
Hmm.
Some people will delicately be in the bathroom for a little bit. That's how I usually happens to me. It doesn't
Uh-huh.
mean you ate some bad fish. This too shall pass. And it's just your body's way of clearing a bunch of sludge that you've been carrying forever.
Hmm.
Some people feel their shoulders get lighter. My older son, he said it's the weirdest thing. My shoulders felt lighter, and I can't even describe how, and I can't even describe why. He just said I just kind of they felt lighter to me.
Hmm.
And then some people literally feel energy leaving. If you don't feel any of these things, you will get a little tired. But if you still don't feel anything, it probably means your level 5 person is now a 4 and you just have more work to do.
Hmm.
And you know that you've forgiven people. Um, you asked me a question before about what happens when you forgive. Well,
Hmm.
a couple years ago, I was on Facebook and and I've had a bunch of business partners, but I saw an ex-business partner of mine.
Hmm.
And usually seeing that name sent me to the ceiling and you have to scrape me off. And it'd take me a couple days because the memories would come flooding back and I'd get pissed off again. But
Hmm.
this particular day, I think it was their birthday or something like that. And nothing
Hmm.
even wish them a happy birthday. And then I caught myself because I sat here and I thought, I had what Oprah calls that aha moment. I thought,
Hmm.
wait a minute. wait a minute, I'm not angry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not angry. I mean, I'm really not angry. And I sat here and I thought about it and I thought, I'll even wish her a happy birthday. I wasn't angry. It's not that I forgot everything. It's just gone. Now I remember the love that was there. I remember the good times that we had.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember the horrible ones. I mean, I
That
could,
that just
but I
reminds
don't.
me that reminds me of my favorite musical, one of my favorite musicals, Chorus Line, where
I love that one.
right when the one of the dancers and she's singing a song about when she had to take this theater class and the teacher was constantly yelling at her and berating her and blah 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 and you need to feel something, you need to do this, and it was just horrible. It was a nightmare experience for her, and she hated him so much. And then she's singing in the song and she says, and I heard that, Mr. So and so had died. And she moves on in the song and she says, and I felt nothing.
Yeah,
And it was like, wow, I don't know.
that's freedom.
That just, yeah. And that really just resonated with me for some reason. It was like, wow, you feel nothing. It's freedom.
It's freedom. And remember, I'm going to say it again and I'm going to repeat myself. It doesn't mean the person who hurt you was correct. They're
Mm-hmm.
still wrong. They're still
Mm-hmm.
a dumpster fire. They still probably have to make amends and do whatever it is they're doing, although they're probably not thinking about you at all. They're probably living their life and you're the one in your apartment eating Ben and Jerry's ice cream and drinking a six-pack of beer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. And you want them to be as miserable as you
Mm-hmm.
because we're women. We want that. No, they're not. They're not thinking about you at all. But, once you can be free of it, they're out of your head. They're
Mm-hmm.
not living rent free in there anymore, as to use an expression. They're gone. And that's freedom. It's
It
absolute freedom.
it also reminds me of Marley in Scrooge.
Yep.
And
Jacob
walking with
Marley.
all those chains and everything just weighing him down.
That's right.
And, I went through some certain phases in my life where all of a sudden it was like I'd felt like that. And all of a sudden the chains were just breaking and all of this weight was just falling off.
And you can feel it in your body. You can feel
Oh,
the weight coming off.
absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
you catch yourself because you're not thinking about it anymore. I was in my 50s and all of a sudden I wasn't telling the stories anymore. I mean, I was my story. That story I told about that man who grew his business on his story. In many ways, that was me for many years because I was my story. I was proud of it. I was a survivor of alcoholism. I was a survivor of suicide. Hell, I was even a survivor of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
12 years cancer free, almost 13. And I was my story. And
Mm-hmm.
if I lost the story, who would I be?
Yeah. Who are
That's
you?
very scary. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know who I was. And if I lost the story, what would I do? Who was I? But that's the brilliant part of it because you can finally be the authentic person. You can finally find out what does bring you joy. Now you're going to find out. What do I want to do? You're going to figure it out. It's going to be like bumper cars for a while because you're going to have to bump your head into a couple of different ways until you figure out exactly what lane you want.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have the chance. Now
Mm-hmm.
you can be the person you were meant to be.
And you like yourself more.
You will love yourself. Women have this worthy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of podcasters will say, what's the one thing, the message that you want to get out? And 10 out of 10 times, I'm going to tell you, you are worthy enough to live a life of joy. You
Mm-hmm.
are worthy enough. I
Mm-hmm.
spent so many years thinking that I was unworthy and
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't smart enough and I wasn't bright enough and I wasn't pretty enough and I wasn't thin enough because that's what I was told as a kid. Oh, you won't amount to anything. You're just going to have babies. That I grew up in the 70s and this is what women were taught.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, the bullies were beating me down and I spent years kind of in the corner of a room in the fetal position
Aw.
until I finally, and I'm just saying that that's just a,
Right. No, I
you know,
know.
my brain just stopped. It's just an example, shall we
Mhm.
say. But it wasn't until many years later that I realized that everybody was wrong and I am worthy and I
Mm-hmm.
am smart and I am, thin enough. And
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not thin enough, who cares?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not Twiggy. Don't care.
Yeah, boy, that messed a lot of us up, didn't it? the Twiggy
Oh, yeah. If
years.
you don't know who
Oh,
Twiggy was, she was a model that looked anorexic, and everybody wanted to be this model. Her name was Twiggy, and she was the shape of a twig, and she was sick looking,
yeah.
but everybody wanted to be her.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'm pretty sure she was anorexic. That was before anybody
Probably.
knew the A word and, talked
Nobody
about her
knew
or
what it
whatever.
was.
Yeah,
She was
nobody
just
knew.
thin.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Catherine, this has been an absolute delight. You have given us so much to think about. And it's really funny because as you were talking, there were moments when I was like, just feeling those deep breaths and the sigh and the releasing and the relaxing. So, highly effective work.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the first book of three, and by the time this airs, you guys will I will probably be finished the second book, and I don't know if I can promise it'll be out by then, but it'll be
Mm-hmm.
close. And the second book is about how to forgive yourself.
I love
A
that
lot of
one.
people put their list of people together, and their number 10, their unforgivable is them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do you forgive yourself for something unforgivable?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I wrote a poem quite a few years ago, and I don't even know where this all came out of, stress or anxiety or trauma, who knows? But this it just came pouring out of me, and at the very end, it was like, if only I could forgive myself.
That's
Or
right.
if I could just forgive myself. And it was like, but I can't. And I actually just found that since, I'm cleaning out the girl cave, trying to prepare for hopefully a move soon. And I found that and I was like, oh, wow, man, I was really messed up.
Yeah, that kind of the lowest vibrational emotion is shame. Brene
Mm,
Brown is very famous for talking about shame, and a lot of us, many of us, it's not just women, but women and men, we feel shame, and shame is incredibly hard to get out of.
hmm.
And
Guilt
that's
and shame.
probably it's shame. You're ashamed, and it's very hard to move through, but there is a way out of that box, and you
Hmm.
can get out
Hmm.
100%.
Yeah, I learned how to beat people up. And so that really helped a lot.
What really helped is in 2020, we all had to wear masks. And I loved wearing my mask, not for the reason you think. It's because I could stick my tongue out at people and nobody knew. So when we stopped wearing masks, I was desperately upset because I couldn't stick my tongue out at people because, people don't like it when you do that. But I can't tell you how many times I did that, made me feel so much better. I was very upset when I couldn't do it anymore.
Oh my goodness, that is absolutely hilarious. Oh, thank you so much for being on the show. I have loved this conversation. Please let the listeners know how they can connect with you. Give us some of your social media links. Of course, this is in the show notes, but I really like the guests to be able to articulate because it gives it that personal touch.
All my books can be found on Amazon. I read a bunch. Rainbows and Banana Peels is about my breast cancer journey. The Little Bird in Your Shoulder is how to
Mm,
teach you how to have a two-way conversation with your intuition. And The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power, book one, and maybe even book two. I'm
mm-hmm,
working on it.
hmm.
I do have the audiobook, the paperbacks, and the ebook available
Hmm.
because I understand not everybody wants to read. My
Hmm.
younger son and I did it together. We're still talking to each other too. So banner. Hey, audiobooks are not as easy as you think. They are hard. I have a mad respect for anybody who does to voiceover work because you think it's just easy. They show up and they just talk.
So,
No,
did you
it is
narrate it
not.
yourself?
I did. I
Yeah, I
did.
narrated my
It,
first one and I
it's
thought
not
this is
easy.
no. Oh
Mm-mm.
my
It,
God.
no, it's not. You have to watch what you say, and you have to start each sentence with your mouth open so you don't make the sounds in your. Oh, it's crazy how hard it is. Then you
Well,
mess up and you have to go back. It's
hmm. Hmm. Well, I have to tell you, and that first book is only 45,000 words. And it took us 3 days to record it. And I was like, we don't need 3 days. We can do this in one afternoon. And it was like, oh my God. So we did 2 days in a row and then one day off and then the last day. And I thought, I don't need a day off. Well, let me tell you what I did on that day off.
yep.
Nothing.
Yep, you're exhausted.
Nothing. It's
Now
exhausting.
when I get mad at my younger son, it's actually very entertaining because the concierge manual does not have an audio book. It's like 250, 300 pages. So I hold it over his head.
Oh.
So be nice to me or I'll make you do it. No,
And
I'm never gonna do.
how
Never
old are
gonna
your
do the
sons? How old are your sons?
29 and 31.
Oh, all right. So
So
they
they're
are.
kind of older. And the other way to reach me is to go to my website at
Mhm.
katharinegiovanni.com. And thanks to my mother, my first name is spelled a little odd. Thanks, Mom. And it's Katharine Giovanni.com.
hmm Well, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, it has been an absolute a pleasure. Love talking to you. Love these ideas. I'm giving us a lot to think about. Is there one final thing you want to say before we log off?
You got this. You may not, you may think this is a long journey that you can't take, but you can.
hmm
You can. Just take it a little bit at a time. Start with the easy ones and work your way up to the hard ones and save those hard ones for last.
hmm
Start with the easy ones and just pick it apart.
hmm Wonderful advice. Thank you again for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. What an incredible episode. Oh my goodness, please share this information with everybody you know. And, I think maybe put it on a loop. I need to hear this information over and over again because I'm a slow learner. But it gives you so much hope when you know that you can make yourself a healthier, happier person by forgiving those who may have hurt you in the past. That is, as Katharine said, freedom. And to me, it's also incredibly empowering. And just remember, you got this. And if you're struggling with it and if you need help, you know where to find her and you know how to get a hold of her. So make sure that you know that you are worthy. And that is the way of the FemiNinja.